In our next part of the lesson, you'll find out about a Seattle area company called Costco. Costco is a membership warehouse store. You might have heard of it or even shopped there. If you have, you'll know that at Costco stores, you can buy products in bulk, often at low prices. There may also be similar stores where you live. In course 1 of the Specialization, you learn some vocabulary to describe companies. This will give you a chance to review what you learned. You'll then hear an interview with a Costco employee talking about real-life experiences of meetings in a US business. Before we listen to the interview, let's find out about Costco. Read the following questions and then read the text to find the answers. What kind of business is Costco involved in? When was the first Costco opened? In how many countries is Costco found? What is Costco's business model? How successful is the company?
Costco is a familiar name in the U.S. retail industry. You can find Costco stores in and around many major cities in the U.S., as well as a number of other countries. But Costco is no ordinary store. When people shop at Costco, they will have a very different experience. A Costco store is a huge warehouse, and to shop at Costco, you must be a member and show your membership card before you can enter. We call Costco a membership warehouse club, and since it opened its first warehouse in Seattle in 1983, it has become the biggest membership warehouse club in the United States and the third biggest retailer in the world. Costco has over 650 warehouses in 9 different countries, although the majority of warehouses are in the U.S. Costco headquarters are in Issaquah, just outside of Seattle. Costco has a simple business model: reduce overhead costs and sell quality goods at cheaper prices to consumers. Most Costco warehouses are located just outside the city limits, where real estate prices are cheaper. Costco also saves money by buying in large volumes directly from manufacturers instead of distributors. By buying in volume, it can get a discount, which it passes on in lower prices to consumers. Products are shipped to the warehouses and directly placed on the floor of the warehouse. Many products at Costco are sold in big sizes, especially everyday household items. Costco does not spend a lot of money on creating displays, making the stores attractive, or marketing, again saving money. Finally, people also have to pay an annual membership fee, so it can sell products at close to break-even. Compared to other superstores, there are actually fewer products in a Costco warehouse. Costco chooses only certain products to sell at a time. A product may be available one week and gone the next. This again helps reduce the amount Costco has to spend on storage and tracking how much of a product they have left. Costco also has started carrying its own brand of products, usually significantly cheaper than equivalent name brand products. Costco has expanded into online shopping, insurance, car sales, and travel, and the company continues to grow. For financial year 2015, Costco reported total sales of over $100 billion.
Now listen to a Costco employee talk about meetings. Today we are speaking with Ron Hanstein from the warehouse retailer Costco about business meetings. So welcome, Ron, and thank you for speaking with us today via Skype.
You're welcome.
First, could you describe your job at Costco?
I'm a general manager with one of the Costcos. There are 698 Costcos throughout the world, and a general manager is accountable for the entire operation of the entire building. An average Costco will have around 260 employees, about 18 to 20 salary managers, and then 20 to 30 hourly supervisors. So a general manager is accountable to protect the company assets, ensure the safety for the employees and the members, and the buck really stops with the warehouse manager. Some is good, you get the accolades, if something isn't so good, you heard about it. So it's, the buck stops with the GM.
And how long have you worked at Costco?
I've been there 29 years. 28 of the 29 years, I was a general manager. About 6 different locations.
And about meetings, how many meetings do you have in a typical day or a typical week?
Well, we have, throughout a typical week, we will have, 5 to 6, depending on, the needs and the different structure that we're supposed to do. But there's one formal meeting every Monday, and that's just where the entire staff meets. And then I have 2 assistant general managers, and they respectively meet with their areas of accountability throughout the week. So in a typical week, it'll be around 5 to 6, and that encompasses, new training that's coming along, changes to the employee agreement book, safety meetings, hazmat meetings.
And do you ever organize or run a meeting?
Yes, as a general manager, I'm accountable to organize and run all the meetings. However, the managers that are coming up through the ranks, they are the future of the company. So we want them to participate in the meetings and set them up. We have a formal meeting every week. It's a PowerPoint. Every manager has to talk about their sales, their new items, any people issues, any needs for their particular departments, and they put the slides up and do a presentation. So we want to develop them and teach them. My focus in the meeting is to keep all my managers on course and task of what the corporate office expects of us when they have their meeting.
Okay. And how do you set up a meeting?
Well, we set it up, and through information that's disseminated from my bosses, from regional bosses, vice presidents, and from our corporate office. Our corporate office meets once a month, where our president and chief executive officer flies in all of his key executives from all over the world. They could do it on a format like a teleconference, but we do it because our president wants to have the synergies of all of the people that run the company in the same room on the same day, and so they can interact with each other, and then that information that comes out from those meetings is handed down to the different regions throughout the world, and then we base a lot of our content on our meetings from what we get from our corporate office.
What do you think are the keys to a successful meeting?
The keys to a successful meeting are to keep the people engaged and that they feel the passion for the business, the same passion that I have as a general manager and my assistant GMs, to make the meetings, fun and enlightening, and to keep them on track. Usually a formal meeting on Mondays will be an hour to an hour and a half. So we want to keep the meeting flowing, keep the people, entertained, and that make sure that after the meeting that they go back to their individual employees and they disseminate the information from the staff meetings and the weekly meetings to their employees, which is critical, because if we don't do that, the meetings will not be effective at all.
Okay. Do you ever have meetings with international partners? And if so, are there any particular challenges?
Just internationally, my exposure into the Los Angeles region in Southern California is very minimal. All the managers throughout the world meet formally in Seattle once a year for a conference, so I just get to interact with them there. But things that would happen internationally that are pertinent to other regions in the world are passed through us, again, through our corporate office. So, but my personal involvement as a general manager is pretty minimal with the international.
Are there any differences with how Costco runs and organizes meetings to other companies that you know?
Yes, they're very efficient and very hands-on. Costco keeps itself very lean, keeps our administrative costs low. Other companies that I have worked for, you get too hung up on too much bureaucracy and you're not really able to function. But Costco keeps things engaging and very efficient and very simple and right to the point.
And if you could change one thing about how a meeting is run, what would it be?
Well, I'm keeping them simple and keeping our core values intact and maintaining our culture, I think, is the biggest challenge for any company, no matter how big or small they are. And so I don't really see the need for any changes other than that keep the focus on keeping our core values and what our culture is, and pass that on to the new younger managers that are coming up, because they are the future of the company. But to keep things, again, simple and very streamlined and very efficient as we do, so we can keep reducing prices in Costco. That's what Costco is all about, is keeping things simple and streamlined.
So am I right, you like meetings?
I like meetings if we keep them to task and keep the people to feel the passion for the business, and keep the employees engaged as to what's going on. And again, what I mentioned earlier, very importantly, that the managers and the supervisors pass on that information, because if we don't do that, then meetings are really a waste of time.
Well, thank you, Ron. You've answered some great questions, and thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.